My life is a mess. I have no idea how to fix it. Everything seems like it's a disaster, right? And if you're out there kind of feeling like you have all of these pieces to pick up, you don't really know where to start, you feel like you're a mess in every multifaceted area of your life, we're gonna dig into that today and talk about that topic to really figure out why you feel like life is this chaotic mess that just feels unfixable for you right now. And if you're in that position, it's probably because you have not determined the 5 areas of your life that you need to master in order to create happiness. So, for those of you who are jumping on and don't know me, my name is Lauren Eliz. I'm the founder of whatisperfection.com, and I teach women how to pick up the pieces, rebuild their lives, find happiness, and create massive, massive action in their life. So, let's jump into today's topic. I'm so excited about this. For the longest time in my own personal life, I was that girl who could not figure out how to fix herself, right? I was miserable all the time. I was having unhealthy, unhappy relationships. I was suffering from abuse and neglect. It seemed like everywhere I turned, I was feeling unfulfilled. I hated my body, I hated my job, I hated my life, and I didn't know how to fix it. And it wasn't until I figured out what these 5 principles are that I was really able to narrow down that nitty-gritty and sort of start to figure out, well, what is it about my life that really needs fixing? What is that problem area that I need to focus on right now? Because if you're coming into this video and you're relating to what I'm saying here, you're probably thinking, just like my client was, oh my God, Lauren, I have all of these things to fix and I don't know where to start. Here's what I want you to do. Get out a pen and paper. I'm going to teach you guys a little lesson today. I want you to dig deep and pay attention to what I'm talking about, because this is the strict fundamental foundation of creating happiness in your life. If you want to be that person who feels confident all the time, who feels good about herself, who creates massive happiness in her own life, controlling it and not letting other people control herself, then you need to get down and get honest and know what these 5 steps are. So here's how you become happy and fulfilled in your life. You become a master of these 5 important areas, okay? Give me a thumbs up if you have your pen and paper, so I know you're listening, so I know you're ready, so I can get started and start chiming through with these really important topics. Okay, here we go. The first that you need to become a master of, this first important area of your life, is your emotions. You need to be a master of your emotions. You need to understand why you feel happy, why you feel sad, why you're struggling to feel good about yourself. When you're not a master of your emotions, chaos occurs. It's like this big craziness exists in our life. This is why almost 90% of our society is on some sort of antidepressant medication, because we can't figure out how to understand and become a master of what we're feeling. So we feel frustrated, we feel discouraged, we feel hurt, we feel scared, but we don't know how to express it, we don't know how to comprehend it, and most importantly, we don't know how to move forward. This is a big component of the Brand New Me course. If you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. But understanding how to be that expert of your emotions, figuring out who you are, what makes you tick, what your values and beliefs are, what makes you a full, encompassed, vibrant human being. And if you don't know those things, you need to focus on your self-love. You need to focus on figuring out what makes you you and understanding yourself a little bit more. You see, we're in a society now where we're constantly connected to other people, that we have all of these exterior components to sort of shape or change how we're feeling at a particular time. If you're unhappy, you watch a TV show. If you're feeling bored, you go on Facebook. Well, all you guys are on Facebook listening right now, probably because you're bored or you're, not wanting to do the work that you have in front of you at your job. So we have all of these exterior influences in our life that can really shape and affect how we feel, but they also turn off our ability to understand our own language, our ability to recognize why we're upset and how we're feeling. So if you're that person who wakes up every day sort of like, I feel so depressed, but I don't know why. I feel stuck, but I don't know why. I feel unfulfilled, but I have a lot I should feel fulfilled about. So what's wrong? That's because you have not become a master of your own emotions. So that's the first step that really, I would say that being a master of your emotions is the solid foundation, because if you're not fulfilled, if you're not happy, and if you don't have an ability to communicate and understand how you're feeling, you can't succeed in anything in life, okay? So that's the first, emotions, becoming an emotional master. The second is being a master of your body. If you're the person who's waking up every day, struggling to get out of bed, struggling to feel confident when she gets dressed in the morning, struggling to feel energized on a regular basis, it's impossible to go after the other things you want. It really makes living life difficult. You need to understand how your body works, how to fuel and feed your body, how to feel good and comfortable in your own skin, and how to create that vitality and energy that you're longing for. Becoming a master of your physical body is key. If you do not have health, if you do not have stability, if you do not have energy and that consistency and certainty that you can function on a regular basis, it becomes very difficult to feel happy and fulfilled in your life. Speaking firsthand, before I became a life coach and founder of whatisperfection.com, I was 60 pounds heavier than where I am now. I struggled time and time again to find a system for losing weight and becoming a brand new version of myself that worked. And I couldn't figure out why. I needed to master my emotions, and I needed to master some other important areas of my life, which I'm about to jump into here. So the third we got going on, if you're just jumping on this video, we're talking about those 5 important areas of our life we need to master in order to create happiness. So the first is our ability to understand our emotions, becoming an emotional master. The second is being able to become a master of our physical body, our state, our energy, our level of being. And our third, which I'm coming into right now, is the ability to understand and be a master of relationships. I can't tell you how many people fail this area of mastery because they don't understand their own emotions. They don't understand, see, all of these things are connected. If you're not a person who understands your emotions, who is clear about how she feels, who's able to express how she feels, it's so easy to fall into the trap of being in an unhealthy, unhappy relationship. It is so easy to find yourself stuck and unable to communicate what's going on in your heart and how you're feeling. And if you're not a master of emotion, you don't have that self-worth, right? Because this is a big, big foundation of becoming an emotional master. If you don't have that self-worth, you're gonna find yourself time and time again in abusive, unhealthy, destructive relationships. So these things are all intertwined. They're all connected. So relationships and being able to understand why you express love, how you express love, what you need from a relationship, what you won't tolerate and will put a stance to say, I'm not going to stay. I took a whole, if you jump into the side of this, my Facebook page here, there's 2 Facebook groups, one of which is the Healing a Broken Heart group. And I dove into this a little bit yesterday when I talk about our inability to understand what we want and deserve out of a relationship. And when you don't raise your standards and say, I won't tolerate a lack of communication, I won't tolerate abuse, I won't tolerate yelling, I won't tolerate lying and feeling like I need a private investigator to figure out who my husband is. When you don't raise your standards and you don't understand, you can't be a master of relationships. You can't be proud and confident with the relationships you hold. Now, if you don't understand your worth, you also can't be a master of relationships. And if you're not connected to your body, it's really hard to express yourself in an open, honest relationship with anybody. I can't tell you how many times I used to refuse going to the beach with friends because I was uncomfortable in my skin. I can't tell you how many times being intimate with my partner was hard because I didn't feel good about my body. So the fourth, hope I'm not rushing through these, guys. I hope you're writing these down and paying attention. But the fourth area of your life you need to be a master in is your finances. And this is a big one. If you go on whatisperfection.com, you'll see I wrote a whole article about this yesterday because so many of us have these emotional, going back to emotions here, we have these emotional money blocks. We have this mindset in our head that we can't afford what we want, or we don't deserve what we're trying to achieve, or that, how many times have you heard this expression? More money causes more problems, right? We all have these money stories, and when we're not a master of our emotional language, it's really, really hard to be able to have a solid, successful, healthy financial life. So you see how everything I'm going through here comes back to emotions? It's like this pillar. If you remember like the food diagram years ago, it was like that pyramid. The bottom is your emotional mastery and everything else is on top of it. And when you don't have emotional self-worth, confidence, the ability to feel good about yourself, an understanding of your own emotional language, you can't stack those pillars. You can't create that pyramid of happiness and success in your life. So when it comes to finances, we need to be able to feel good just talking strictly about what makes us happy, right? We need to be able to have a sense of certainty that we can afford things. We need to be able to feel like we are in control of the money that we have and the money that's available to us, not that it's being taken away from us or that money is scarce. Once I changed my money mindset and once I was able to shift that mentality of being that person who always felt like money was scarce, it was never available, it was hard to earn, it was difficult to keep. Once I changed and let go of that, I actually became abundant in my life. I actually was able to enjoy and experience wonderful things. Becoming a financial master is not just about the emotions though, right? Because the truth is, if you sit here and wish for it, having the magic genie come and just be like, poof, here's a ton of money, that's not gonna happen. You need to work at it, just like relationships. A happy, healthy relationship requires hard work, honest communication, and practicing new habits if you haven't been in a healthy, happy relationship before. The same thing goes for money mindset and being a financial master of your own life. And so this last part is so much more difficult now, I would say, in today's world. This is the fifth part of what you need to become a master of in order to create happiness, is our time, becoming a master of time. So I'm just gonna give you an example here. Time is really, it's subjective, because when you have a certain amount, everybody has the same amount of hours in the day as Beyonce, right? Like, this is the quote that's like all over the place because it's so funny and true. But the thing is, when you look at time as this thing that's scarce, you're always constantly in a rush to make up for time. You're always constantly in a rush to get where you have to be. You're always in a rush to not enjoy or be present in what you're experiencing in your life. That's a big red flag, guys. Learning how to become a master of your time, to get organized, to get specific about what your responsibilities and obligations are versus your enjoyment and the pleasure of life. How much would it suck for us to be that person that like wakes up, goes to work, does her job, comes home and sleeps? How many of you are that person out there? Give me a thumbs up or a frowny face or something just so I know that's you. If you're that person who's going out every single day to work and then coming home and sleeping and there's nothing eventful or happy or fulfilling in your life, you have not become a balanced master of all these 5 areas, and you need to look. So here's what happens when you're not happy. You understand these 5 areas now, guys, right? You have your emotions, you have your body, you have your finances, your relationships, and your time. And if you're feeling unhappy, you could look at that list right now that you've made and say, yeah, Lauren, oh my God, I'm not a master of my emotions because my mood's always up and down. Or I'm not a master of my body because I hate the way I look. I've gained so much weight, I've lost my confidence, I'm struggling to feel good in my skin. I am not a master of that area. Or I'm not a master of my relationships. I created this course, if you go on whatisperfection.com, called Broken to Beautiful, that's all for girls who are struggling in unhappy, destructive relationships and they're trying to heal. Because so many women out there do not learn how to have healthy, fulfilling relationships with themselves, so they end up attracting unhealthy, unfulfilling, destructive relationships with other people. So Broken to Beautiful is really an intensive look at that, and it helps walk you through the process of healing and recovering after a breakup. But when you don't have a healthy relationship, everything else falls and feels like a disaster. I can't tell you, when I was in my abusive, unhealthy relationship, I had no idea where my money was going because it was disappearing all the time. I couldn't trust him. I had no understanding or mastery of my time because all of a sudden I felt like I was spending so much time trying to fix a relationship that I had very little time for anything else. And I was not a master of my body or my physical appearance or my emotions, because both of those things were chaotic, up and down all the time. I spent little time caring for myself. I spent little time focusing on what I needed. And the root mastery that needed to be fixed there was my relationship. So when you look at that list, you can sort of figure out what the source is. You might look at those 5 areas and say, well, I need to fix all of these, Lauren. I have problems in all of these areas. I don't know what to do. Figure out what the source is. play a game with those things where you're stacking them in order, trying to figure out what that first thing is that you need to work on, that first thing that is gonna solve so many other problems on that list. And start working towards healing it.